Hi everyone, welcome again to another video of SAT Math Explained. Today our topic will be about two variable data models and scatterplots, and that is within the problem solving and data analysis domain. If you guys want any specific video or a specific topic for me to cover, please let me know in the comments. I'll make sure to post a video about it. And let's get started. So what do you need to know for these types of questions? It does help a lot in knowing basically two types of equations: y equals mx plus b for linear equations, and then for quadratics, I forgot to write it out, but it's the form ax squared plus bx plus c. So y equals mx plus b and ax squared plus bx plus c will always show up in the line of best fit questions, which I'm going to show on later on if you guys don't know what that is. But basically, just knowing these is a huge shortcut, which will save you a lot of time because you don't need to really solve it. You literally just need to know how these work. Like when m is negative, m is the slope. If its slope is negative, it's going to look like this. If slope is positive, it's going to look like this. And then for this one, just if a is negative, it's going to be like this, or if a is positive, it's going to be upright. And that's I'm going to show you some examples. It's going to help you guys a lot. Actually, so I'll show it. I have a small example right now. So basically, for this question, just it just shows like this thing, and then ask what is the best model for the data in the scatter plot. So first things first, let me just explain what is a scatter plot. That's the second part. Understand how scatter plots work and models. So models basic on this question, they refer to models as basically it's literally a graph, but it's not like a specific quadratic cube. It's going to look like this, like something like that, like a straight line like that. So that is a model because it doesn't have really a real equation. Or a scatter plot, which is basically a graph, but instead of an equation, it just has dots. And yeah, so it has dots, and each dot is like a data value. It's not a data value. It's like a coordinate. Yeah, a coordinate. So like here, and then there's always the x and y to tell you what's happening. So like at age 24, there's like 30. Sorry, 24 average emails per day. And then something else that helps is basically a way to summarize scatter plots is using a line of best fit. A line of best fit basically is a line that basically tries to like it's a line that basically covers a line that like resembles the scatter plot, resembles the general trend of the scatter plot. So for this, it would look something like this. And basically, it's important to just make sure what is the question asking for. If it asks for like a specific data, so it might ask at the age of 24, what is the at age 24, what is the average emails per day? You have to make sure is the question asking for asking like is the question referring to a specific point, so one of on the scatter plot, or is it referring to the line of best fit? So like for 24 on the on the line of best fit it would be around like let's say 26. On the points it would be 24, and that would be the difference between a wrong and correct answer. So then let's just go back to this basic example. So for this one, now that you guys know what a scatterplot is, line of best fit is, for this one, basically just by knowing ax squared plus bx plus c, and if you guys don't, you can go to a previous video into algebra. I'm not sure which one, but you guys can go back and watch one of them, and it should have covered that topic. But basically, so for this one, which is the best model for the data? Because it says the best model, you automatically think line of best fit. So which one like kind of looks like that? Basically, is what it's asking for. So you could technically go plug them into Desmos, look at each one and determine which one. Or you could just, like it says, no ax squared plus bx plus c, no this form. So you look at this one, okay, it's upright, so a has to be positive, but every single one is positive. So that's not going to help us that much. On some questions it might, for this one it doesn't, because all of them are positive. So then the next thing we can find from this is the y-intercept, and that is different for each one, so that can help us. So you can see that the y-intercept when it crosses y is going to be some number greater. We don't even have to like narrow it down. Some number greater than 14. It has to be greater than 14. And the only number greater than 14 in the y-intercepts here is b, which has 20. And so then you're done. So instead of like trying to like look at each one or graph each one, just knowing these just knowing y equals mx plus b for linear equations, and ax squared plus bx plus c for quadratics is a good shortcut that will help you. I did put etc., but actually the only things that will show up is this form and this form. Those are the only two. So that's all you need to know for this specific topic. So let's move on to how to solve these. It's hard to really explain how to solve this one. So just really just know what the graph is showing. Is it showing a scatter plot? Does it have line of best fit? What is being asked? What does it want us? Does it want the equation of the scatter plot? Does it want a specific point? Something something like that. What is it asking for? And just find it. Most of the time, you can either just most of the times it's you just have to like look at it and then you can find the answer. Most of the times, like I don't think there's any questions requiring solving. So you just need to like recall these things, know how scatter plots work, and just apply some skills, which is very general, but it's hard to get like specific on how to solve it. So I'm going to show some examples so that hopefully you guys can understand it better. So as usual, make sure to try the questions before watching my explanation, because just watching the explanation will give you a false sense of understanding, and that will not help you to get the score you want on test day. And as usual, we do two easy questions, two medium questions, and a single hard question. So let's just get straight to it. So first thing, the two easy questions. So this one does look like a lot, but it's if you read it, it just becomes very simple. So it tells us in an experiment, a heated cup of coffee is removed from a heat source, and the cup of coffee is then left in a room that is kept at a constant temperature. The graph above shows the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit of the coffee immediately after being removed from the heat source, and at 10-minute intervals thereafter. So every 10 minutes it shows a point. The average of the following 10-minute intervals as the temperature of the coffee decrease at a greatest average rate. So something I want to point out before I show how to answer this question is sometimes for questions, if you don't have time, you could just read, see what's asking for. So all of this is basically extra information. All of this is literally useless. You can ignore all of it and just remember the oops, just remember this part. So during which of the following 10-minute interval does the temperature of coffee decrease at the greatest average rate? So for this one, this is going to require a little bit of extra thinking, extra from the skills that I said what to know. So basically, it's how much of the following 10-minute does the temperature of the coffee decrease at the greatest average rate? So to find the greatest average rate, that is average rate is basically the slope. So at the greatest slope, that means this the steepest basically. So the steeper a slope, so something like this, is a greater slope than something that is like this. This is more steep. So let's just look at the answer options. So there's 0 to 10, 30 to 40, 50 to 60, 90 to 100. So if you close up right here, between 0 and 10, the slope is like this about. Let's just draw. That's our line of best fit between the 2 points. That's technically it's the linear line between the slope, and you could call it line of best fit, I guess. But then 30 and 40. So between 30 and 40, it looks like this. And then 50 and 60. 50 and 60, it looks like this. And then 90 and 100, it looks like this. So you can see that this one between 0 and 10, it has the steepest. So that tells you that it decreases the most. And also you could just like look at it. If you didn't want to like use the slope and all that, you could basically just look at it, say, okay, between 0 and 10, it went from about 200 to about 150. So that's 50 degrees it went down. Between this one and this one, it went from 120 to like 105. That's 15, and then so on. You can do that one by one, or you can just recognize that the steeper the slope, the greater that it decreases, and then you would say between 0 and 10. That is it for the first question. The second question, it tells us, so this is like an example of the model of how it's going to work, it's how it's going to look. So it tells us that Teresa ran on a treadmill for 30 minutes, and her time and speed are shown on the graph above. On the graph above. According to the graph, which of the following statements is not true concerning Theresa's run? So it's asking not true, so we need to find the false statement. So this one says, the first one says, Teresa ran at a constant speed for 5 minutes. If you look here, it's a straight line, so that means the speed never changed. And she ran for from 5 to 10 minutes, so that is 5 minutes. So that the first one is correct. This one is correct. Then it says Teresa's speed was increasing for a longer period of time than it was decreasing. So if you look at this, it was increasing from 0 to 5, and then again from 20 to 25. So that is 10 points. But then it was decreasing from 10 to 20, 10 to 20, and then 25 to 30. So that would be 15, and 15 is greater than 10. So it actually decreased more. So that is the correct answer, I guess. Yeah, that is the correct answer. Was increase? Yeah. So this is the correct answer because it is not true. So always just make sure, because for me, personally, I always get confused between on the not true questions because like I'll find something that's false, and then I forget that the question is asking for something that is not true. Let's just check the remaining answers. So C says that Teresa's speed decreased at a constant rate during the last 5 minutes. So from 25 to 30, the speed did decrease at a constant rate. The line is a linear line, so the slope does not change throughout. So this one is true. This one is true. Then Teresa's speed reached its maximum during the last 10 minutes. During the last 10 minutes, so from 20 to 30, it did reach its maximum at 8 miles per hour. So that is also true. So then the answer would be the correct answer would be B. So that is it for the easy questions. Let's move on to the medium. So this one tells us that the scatter plot shows the relationship between two variables, x and y. A line of best fit for the data is also shown. So this is the line of best fit. So which of the following is the closest to the difference between the y-coordinate of the data point with x equals 1 and the y value predicted by the line of best fit x at x equals 1? So in the beginning, I told you guys to watch out to like make sure what is if the question is asking for the line of best fit value or the data point value, the y-coordinate of the data point. But for this question, it asks you to find both and then find the difference between it. So yeah, so the difference between the y-coordinate of the data point. So the data point at x equals 1 is right here. Let me highlight it. It's right there. So it is at 1 comma 12. So y is equal to 12 at the data point. Let's say data point. Sorry, that is very messy. Point. And then you look at the one predicted by the line of best fit at x equals 1. So the line of best fit at x equals 1, so right here, it is at about y equals 11, or exactly y equals 11. So y equals 11 for line of best fit, line of fit, I'm just going to put. So then from there, sorry, y equals 11. So then just 12 minus 11, the difference is 1. So these questions are a bit more basic compared to the other focus skills we've done. But yeah, so it's still important to know to get those extra points on the SAT. So this one tells us that the scatter plot shows the relationship between two variables x and y. A line of best fit is also shown. So which of the following is the closest to the line of best fit shown? Closest to the slope of the line of best fit shown. So first thing, you can automatically just see that the line of best fit is decreasing. So it's going down to the right, so that means it's decreasing. So you can automatically eliminate A and B because they are negative values. Because my bad, you can eliminate C and D because they are positive, and the slope the slope is decreasing, which means the slope must be negative. So then you're down to these two. Then from there, I think the best way is to just solve for the slope using the slope formula. So just try to get 2 points on the line of best fit. So we could do 14 comma, or actually let us find like some like integer points. So there's 12 comma 2, or sorry, 12 comma 3, 12 comma 3, and then another point would be right here, 1 comma 12, 1 comma 12. So this is an example of how you will always need previous skills in these. It's like what I'm trying to say is that you always need the skills from previous focus skills from other domains. Like for this one, it's algebra to solve these questions. So for this one, it barely needs any knowledge of the things in this focus skill. It mainly needs the knowledge from the algebra domain. Anyway, so this is xy, this is xy, and the slope formula is y2, so 12 minus 3, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, so 1 minus 12. And then you get 12 minus 3, 9. 1 minus 12 is negative 11. 1 minus 12 is negative 11. So it's somewhere around, yeah, you don't even have to look. It's a negative number that is negative number, and the number is less than 1. The number is a decimal, so 0 point xx, 0 point something. So the only option that is smaller than is a negative number that is technically greater than 1, but like let's say the number is a like a 0 point something, that would be 0 0.8. So yeah, you could. So if you solve for it, like let's say 9 over 11, That is about 9 out of 11 is 9 out of 11 is, I think it's like 0.88. 9 out of 11 is 0.81. So yeah, it's almost exactly, we got it, 0.81. So I think that is the fastest way to solve this. I don't think there's like a shortcut for this. You have to literally find the slope. But yeah, so that is it for the medium question. Let us move on to the hard question. If you guys know a better way, please let me know in the comments to help other viewers and to also help me. And so this one, it tells us that the scatter plot shows the relationship between the length of times y and hours a certain bird spent in flight and the number of days after January 11th. So I just want to also reiterate, you do not need to read all the information on the word problems because sometimes you just don't have time. Like this isn't important. Like it doesn't matter if you know the thing. You can literally just look at the graph and see, okay, this is a graph. This is a scatter plot showing the relationship between days after January 11th, length of time. You don't need to read that to know that. So it tells us what is the average rate of change in hours per day of the length of time the bird spent in the flight on January 13th. So that is 2 days after January 11th. And then on January 15th, which is 4 days after January 11th. So anytime you hear the word average rate of change, think slope formula. So average rate of change, slope formula. So so the time length of the time the bird spent in flight on January 13th, so 2 days after, is the point would be 2 comma 6. 2 comma 6. And then 4 days 2 days later on January 15th, or 4 days after January 11th, you get 4 comma 15. 4 comma 15. And so then when asked for the average rate of change, always think slope, average rate of change, slope formula. And so basically you're just finding the slope of that line, this line that I just drew, this one. So just solve for the slope, 15 minus 6 over 4 minus 2 equals 9 over 2, which is 4.5. It's not about because we're sure about points. So the answer is 4.5, or you could put in 9 divided by 2. Yeah, so that is it. Again, if you guys have any better way to solve these questions, please let me know. If you guys notice a mistake, please let me know. And if you guys have any questions, comments, or if you yeah, comments. If you guys have any specific video you guys would like to see, please let me know in the comments. And that is it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and bye.